Well, good morning, magandang umaga, and welcome to today's episode of My PA Dream. Today, per your request, we get many requests of people asking what is the new cost of living that you're paying here at Villa Fleas. If you remember correctly, we used to do cost of living expenses for our small apartment, the 3,000 pesos per month, about $60 per month. Well, this is a big difference living in our finished home here, and I kept putting it off, but today we are finally doing a catch up. So for the cost of living, for what it costs us to live our regular normal dated stuff here, you're going to see that today.
Yes.
So without further delay, let's get today's video underway. Now, per your request, we get many requests of people asking us, how come you haven't done an updated cost of living? Well, we've been here for 3 years, so I guess it's time for us to do a cost of living update, aside from the small apartment that I had that was really only about 3,000 pesos per month, or the equivalent of about, $60? About $60. So now here, to give a comparison, if you were to live in the Philippines and you were to live in a gated community similar to ours, if you were our neighbors, so to say, and you want to know what to expect for cost, we're going to talk about that a little bit today. There are many questions that come online in the comment section, in emails, on Facebook, asking that question, do I have enough money to retire in the Philippines? And they give us different numbers. They give us, most of them come from the United States, and they are in the amounts of dollars. Is $1,000 enough? Is $1,500? Is $2,500 enough to live? Well, you'll see at the end of today's episode our total cost for essential items. Now, that doesn't include non-essential items, like if you splurge, if you go out and you're buying, like we do here. I do lots of projects here at Villa Fleas. I'm not going to include those projects because I share those in the DIY videos. I tell you what each one of those costs. But many people are just retiring and they don't do the DIY stuff. We're going to be realistic on our costs. So let's go ahead and get started for today. This is the My PI Dream January 2021, and it's January because we just got our last final billing, our water bill. So we're going to discuss each one of the categories, and our first category is going to be utilities. That's our bottle utility, that's our electricity, how much it costs for our water, PLDT, which is our internet connection that we have here, yes. Our fiber internet connection, which is, I believe, I don't know what is our rate that we have on that? What's the megabits that we get? I think it's like 100. I think it's like 100 megabits
Mbps.
Per second. Yeah, Mbps. And our cell phone, what I pay for cell phone. And this is a prepaid plan. Basically, you get a card or you load. They do what's called loading over here. I don't have a plan because I find it's less expensive doing it as a prepaid. So the first thing we're going to look at is our electricity. Our electricity for January costs us 7,795.09 pesos, or the equivalent of about $163. Now, that is high for us because our normal, I will tell you, based on the 3 years here, it's about between 5 to 6,000 pesos. Since we added the pool, and you can tell this will be part of, if you put a pool in, what you can expect on an increase. And I think we probably went up about 1,500, 1,700, less than 2,000 pesos is what it's costing us for electricity for the swimming pool. So a little less than $40. Okay, so that is our utility for electricity. Our utility for water. Our last month, our January water bill was 448 pesos. Under $10 for our water. I think that's pretty good because I think in the U.S., our U.S. even if you're not there and you use zero water, it's about $75. It's crazy what we pay in the U.S. Our internet costs, we have a fixed rate. We have every month we pay $28.99, or the equivalent of about $60 per month for our internet, and that's what we get for that 100 Mbps connection that we have.
Fiber.
On fiber. Also, our cell phone. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier. We don't have a plan.
I don't have a cell phone.
So all I have is my load that I put on my phone. I do a load, and I do it twice a month. I do 250 pesos per month, but it won't let you do 250 for a bank transfer to load. I'm going to try to make this short. So I spend 600 pesos a month is what I pay. I load twice. So about $12, much less than my AT&T bill in the U.S., which I think is always about $70, $80.
Well, it has internet.
Yeah, something like that. Okay, let's go to vehicle. We're going to go with our vehicle costs. And what I've done, I've broken this down on a month-by-month basis because some things like your annual registration, you only do it once, but I'm not sure, let's wait until we get into the spreadsheet. I think I might have broke it down and split it by 12 months. Insurance, fuel, and repair parts. And you're going to be surprised about the fuel for the month of January. Anyway, our vehicle cost, let's see, for, what is this? I don't even know what this is. This vehicle cost. Oh, I think this was for fuel. For fuel. For how much? For fuel. It says 0. And you're probably saying, James, that's a crazy number. You mean it didn't cost you anything for operating your vehicle for January? And I'm going to say yes, because you want to know why. We are in a pandemic. I don't drive.
Stayed home.
We don't drive. We go maybe once a month into town. I filled up the truck with diesel fuel in, I don't know, maybe April of 2020. I still have about a half a tank of fuel inside there. So we did. Yeah. But when you're deciding how much it's going to cost you, more realistically, you're going to have to decide what you would spend on a month-by-month basis. Okay, so I think normally I would spend about once a month I fill up, and it's usually during non-pandemic, it's about the equivalent of about $60. About $60. Yeah, I think it costs about $60. I would have to break that down in pesos. Okay, let's talk about our home. The home. The HOA fees, taxes, insurance, pool expenses, stuff like that. Let's go back real quick. Wait a minute. I forgot to tell you on here. I don't know where I am missing my cost for. I'm missing the cost for the vehicle registration. How much did I just pay for vehicle registration? That should have been inside there. That was an additional thing. We just did vehicle registration, and I think it cost us. It was equivalent of about $50. I am so sorry we missed that.
What about insurance too?
Oh, and insurance. How much was the insurance? Because the insurance, you have to get what's called compulsory third-party liability. That's the minimum that you have. That's liability if you're not financing your vehicle.
1,100.
1,100? 1,100 pesos, which is the equivalent of about $22, $23 for the year. For the year, for insurance. Okay, you don't have to add, if you go out and you get a comprehensive and collision, stuff like that, from a private company, you're going to have to add that on if you have that. Okay, again, sorry for going back. Now we're back over to the home. Let's go to the first thing under home. Our HOA, we pay annually, and I did not break this down by the month. So what we've done is, I did break it down by the month. It is by the month. Okay, so for our month, so that we pay this times 12, and what we paid was 1,814.25. So if you multiply that times 12, you can get an idea of what our annual HOA costs are. I'm telling you what, we're looking at this for the first time as we're doing this. I probably should have reviewed all this before we actually did our presentation. I told you. I knew that was coming. So anyway, about $38 per month is what we're paying for HOA here in our subdivision. Property taxes and insurance costs for the year.
For the year too.
So for our house and our lot and insurance and everything, it comes out to $4,412.92, or less than $100 per month for our property taxes and our insurance here, and that's the house and the land that we have here. And what I did was I decided to go ahead and put in our maintenance costs for our pool, because that's part of our operating expenses here. Now, you wouldn't be paying us if you didn't have a swimming pool. And the reason it is so high, and I'm going to track this every single month, the reason it is so high, for over 14,000 pesos, is because we bought our first 45 kilo container of chlorine, and it was really expensive. It was around 8,000 pesos alone just for that. And the other expenses inside there have to do with the muriatic acid and everything that it costs to run a swimming pool. So we paid $300 for our total cost for our pool. Oh, and our yard. including our yard. And our yard expenses also includes our gardener, his monthly salary that we pay. So for our pool, our yard, to include our gardener, about 14,000 pesos, around $300. Let's go to food. Our food expenses, and I broke them down into two categories. I broke them down into groceries, and I broke them down into dining out. So this is our expenses, and it's going to be a little bit higher than we would normally do because everything we do now we order online. Nothing is done going to a restaurant or going to the grocery store. And then when you order online, you have to pay for a delivery fee. It's not bad, right? It's not bad.
I don't know.
Okay, so anyway,
if it's 100 pesos, is
each
not so
time,
good.
about 100 pesos for delivery, the equivalent of about $2. So anyway, we paid for January for groceries alone, almost 12,000 pesos, which is the equivalent of about $245. And I think that's probably about right. And when we normally, that's
Actually, it's the same with
about
the
the
US.
same. Well, not the U.S., but when we go to the store, when we go shop, that's about
Yeah,
what we pay.
even in the US,
Yeah,
I spend that much money.
I think we normally go when we were shopping and go to the grocery stores. I think about $120.
Because we tend to shop for Western
Yeah,
items
more
too.
Western
That's
items.
why.
So
Yeah.
if you were to,
So-
we'll just say what Ness is talking. If you were to eat like Filipinos eat here,
It
and
would be
a
cheap.
lot of the Filipino foods, the fish and the chicken
Yeah.
and the things, it would be much less than this. When
Yeah.
Ness shops, she buys a lot of
Yeah,
import
Yeah,
items.
my recipes call for all those.
Yeah. So you can expect
Yes, it
under
is.
$250 if you per
Yeah.
month if you're a foreigner living here and wanted to eat like a foreigner.
Yeah. It means that you don't have to suffer your taste
Right.
or your life living.
You don't have to change,
Living-
is what she's
yeah.
trying to say. You can eat the same way
The same-
for
yeah.
about the same cost.
Your lifestyle. You don't
Your
have
lifestyle
to change your
doesn't have to change.
lifestyle.
So our next item is dining. Our dining out cost. It's only about once a week. We probably order from fast food restaurants or regular dining restaurants that do the home delivery, and it comes out to about 2,500 pesos is what we paid in January. The equivalent of around 50 US.
Yeah.
All right, so the next area. Oh, we're done. We're actually done. So for those of you who have had your calculator, you probably already know how much for January. But this is the big question. How much on a monthly basis, if I move to the Philippines, would I expect to spend living in a type of a community that you're living in right there? And the total amount is around 46,000 pesos, or the equivalent of less than 1,000 US dollars.
Ah.
Now, when people ask me,
And that's Western lifestyle.
and that's Western lifestyle. Now, when people ask me,
can
can
make
I
it
live?
cheaper.
Can I live on 1,500?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could. But it all depends on what your non-essential items that you want to add to those. If you wanted to buy furniture, clothing,
Yeah.
clothing's kind of essential, but I don't know. But if you want to buy, like me, for my DIY projects, I do that every single month. I do that every week. I do that every few days. So you have to consider that when you're deciding about moving to the Philippines and how much is it going to cost me. So if you were to retire, I would say if you had $2,000, at least $2,000.
Yeah.
You're right in there, and
good,
you
it's
could do
good.
your DIY projects. You can do your travel. You can do things like that
You
as
can.
well.
Yeah.
Well, that's about
You
it.
can do well.
Well, that's about it for today's cost of living. We'll try to do this on a regular basis if we can. I'll try to keep up with the cost. If you're interested, just to let us know if you're interested, and we'll continue doing these for a month-by-month comparison. Well, that's it. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you for joining us on our cost of living episode today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. And if you did, please give us a thumbs up. Please share. And if you have not subscribed, just click on that little MyPI Dream heart in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. You'll be subscribed and notified the next time we upload a new video. So, till such time from right here in the Philippines, you have a wonderful and blessed day. If you enjoyed today's episode and you would like to see more just like these, just click on one of the helpful links over to your right and you might be able to pick up on some good information on DIY projects, how to, or if you are interested in moving to the Philippines and building, you'll find answers there as well.